Just starting the live. Happy Thanksgiving! Woo! Kelsey, say hi. Thanksgiving in Colorado. Say hi.
Hello.
Hello, Dad, say hello. We're live.
What up?
We're just live. Babe, say hi.
Hello, hello, hello.
Mom, she did all the cooking, thank God. Because I was struggling. Couldn't even make the lasagna right, but it's okay. Well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I hope you all have a great time with your family. I'm glad my family's here. Woo! Kelsey, say hi. Kelly, say hi. I know, right? Thank you, Mom, for cooking. Woo! Tour. Oh, yeah, you cooked the goat?
Thank you, Lord.
Aww. They flew all the way out from New Jersey to be here. I am so excited.
On the night of February 20th, 2021, the police responded to a call where they found a mother dead in a house in her Colorado Springs home at around 1 a.m. Upon arrival at the South Circle home, the scene officers discovered was one of the bloodiest scenes they had ever come across. They found the lifeless body of a woman with several wounds. After a brief investigation, they discovered that the body was that of 30-year-old Tashiana Blake, a wife and mother of two girls, one aged 7 and the other 5. Tashiana was married to 34-year-old Dermot Blake. Blake was working as an active duty soldier at Fort Carson. In a tragic twist, Tashiana Blake's life was taken away, and the close-knit Blake family was gone in one devastating night, all because of a man's selfish desire. This heartbreaking case forces us to question our own instincts, the people around us, and how well we truly know them. Before we get right in, we want to extend our deepest condolences to the family and friends of Tashiana Blake, most especially her young children. Also, we would like to take this crime case as a close reminder to everyone to be careful with who we trust. Sometimes the people closest to us can harbor the darkest secrets. Born on June 12, 1992, Tashiana Blake was a vibrant 30-year-old realtor with Jamaican roots. She met Dermot Blake, a Jamaican who was also an active duty sergeant at the nearby Fort Carson military base. He was an Army radio expert. He had been in the Army for over 4 years. Dermot seemed to be a loving and focused young man. Tashiana and Dermot met, dated, fell in love, and got married. Together they had 2 young daughters aged 7 and 5. Their children were their pride and joy. The family lived in a beautiful townhouse in Colorado Springs, USA. Tashiana was known for her unwavering dedication to her family and her promising career in real estate. She also offered referrals and services for credit repair, weight loss, and a host of other things. She often posted on social media how much she loved her career and family. By all accounts, she was living the dream.
Happy Thanksgiving!
From social media, 30-year-old Tashiana Blake's life seemed ideal. Her career in real estate taking off, her marriage loving.
Babe, say hi.
Hello, hello, hello.
A loving husband, beautiful children, and a fulfilling job. But as the saying goes, not everything is a bed of roses. On Facebook, Tashiana posted that she and Dermot got married in 2015, but their relationship started to have problems, and they filed for divorce in July 2019. However, the case was dropped by October. Court documents show that police were called to their home for a domestic disturbance on the day they filed for divorce. When the police arrived, Tashiana and Dermot both said they had only argued verbally. However, someone in the background told the officers that Dermot had hit Tashiana. No charges were filed after this incident. By the way, I post true crime cases about mothers every week. If that sounds like your kind of thing, please consider subscribing. It really helps a lot. On the night of February 20th, 2021, Dermot had been the one who called 911, claiming that he had shot his wife and that she was a terrible person. The police officers found Dermot covered in blood when they arrived at the home. After finding Tashiana's lifeless body with multiple bullet wounds and Dermot covered with blood, they immediately put him in handcuffs and arrested him. Immediately after the arrest, the police got to work in finding out what transpired in the couple's home. The couple's children were sitting on the couch as all these things were happening. They started by interviewing the children and also reviewing footage from the doorbell cameras. The police found out that around midnight of February 12th, Tashiana's older daughter claimed to have been awakened by several loud gunshots, and her father ordering her 5-year-old sister and her to come out of their room. When they eventually did, Tashiana's older daughter claimed that her sister and her dad had seen their mother on the floor in the hallway outside their bedroom. Their mother was drenched in blood. She claims that her dad had asked her mother to apologize, and after her mother had said she was sorry, her father shot her in the head. The children further claimed that their father shot their mother several more times, but stopped after one of the children had asked him to stop. The older daughter said she had wanted to call the police but hesitated, as she loved her dad even though he had just killed their mother. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that the happy couple that family and friends knew seemed to have been hiding troubles. Police documents indicate that Tashiana had been shot 6 times, with an additional bullet striking the drywall behind her body. Dermot was held without bond in the El Paso County Jail in Colorado Springs for first-degree murder and 2 child abuse charges.
Bart, Heather, 34-year-old Dermot Blake is sitting in a jail cell here tonight. It's where he'll stay through at least mid-December, accused of murdering his wife in front of their 2 children.
The case went to trial, and the accused, Dermot, maintained a plea of not guilty. Dermot's attorney argued that Dermot wasn't entirely innocent, as he described the innocent as a hasty, impulsive, drunken reaction to something. The trial was held in November 2022. The prosecution argued that the former soldier's action was premeditated. The court relied on the doorbell footage and claimed that the trigger was pulled in the course of 5 minutes. The defense made a motion for a mistrial, claiming that the prosecution failed to disclose evidence to the defense, which would have drastically changed how Dermot would have been represented. This is because a piece of evidence from Tashiana's phone that allegedly shows she had been having an affair had not been submitted. The prosecution had disclosed the phone data to the defense on 2 occasions, and those records showed the defense had downloaded the data. The prosecution added that if any affair had played a role in Tashiana's death, they should have already known about it after representing Blake for over a year. The judge ruled against the defense and refused to order a mistrial. While Dermot had pleaded not guilty, his defense attorney at no point during his closing argument denied that Dermot shot and killed his wife Tashiana. Instead, his defense focused on proving that there was no evidence of Dermot having premeditation in killing Tashiana, and was seeking a charge of second-degree murder or manslaughter instead. The trial took 10 days before a 12-member jury found Dermot guilty of first-degree murder and child abuse. This was such a tragic incident. Not only did the 2 young girls have to live without their mother for the rest of their lives, but they also had to witness her tragic death at the hands of their own father. Tashiana's family claims that Dermot couldn't handle the fact that Tashiana was a bright light that he couldn't put out. She was loved by everyone who came across her. Several friends and family members gave speeches at the court after the verdict, sharing what they missed about Tashiana and the impact Dermot has had on all of their lives for killing her. After hearing from the family and friends of Tashiana, the judge asked if Dermot would like to speak to the court before his sentencing, to which he declined. Dermot Blake was sentenced to life in prison as well as 2 separate terms of 12 months for 2 charges of child abuse. The first-degree guilty verdict for murder carries a mandatory sentence of life in prison. Unlike Dermot, Tashiana's priority would have been to her children at the moment of her death. She would have been so worried about what would happen to her children in the hands of their father. The girls are currently being raised by their grandparents. As Tashiana's family navigates the devastating aftermath of the tragic loss, they do so with the knowledge that they are not alone. The outpouring of support from the community and the emotional funeral proceedings have provided a glimmer of hope in an otherwise unimaginable dark time. Tashiana's loved ones have been overwhelmed by the compassion shown by neighbors, friends, and even strangers. The funeral was a bittersweet moment of closure, allowing them to grieve and celebrate the vibrant life that was cut so short. In the face of such profound sorrow, these acts of kindness have been a lifeline for the family. Moving forward, the healing process is only just beginning. Tashiana's young daughters who witnessed the horrific act remain the primary focus of the family. Their recovery and well-being are the utmost concern as they try to make sense of the trauma of that fateful night. As we reflect on this case, we are left with haunting questions. How do you think this tragedy could have been prevented? What drove him to commit such a heinous act? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Y'all, Tim get beat by me. He ain't making no points. I got 50, he got 20. We playing dominoes.
She beat me. Okay, you winning. Goddamn, you winning.
On May 4th, 2021, a tragedy happened in Warner Robins, Georgia. Police found a woman and a man dead in their bedroom, both with gunshot wounds. The victims were identified as Katherine Price, a 36-year-old businesswoman, wife and mother, and her husband, Timothy Price. The shocking part was that Timothy himself had called the police shortly before. He told them, "I just shot my wife." Officers rushed to the scene hoping to save a life, but found that it was too late. What surprised everyone even more was that Katherine and Timothy had no known history of arguments or violence, leaving the community and everyone who knew them wondering the main reason an innocent woman was murdered and how it happened. Today, we give you the mysterious case of Katherine Price. This case takes us all the way to Warner Robins, Georgia, a city with crime rates notably higher than national and state averages, experiencing significant levels of both violent and property crimes. It was in this challenging environment that 36-year-old Katherine Price found herself. Katherine Price, born in Memphis, Tennessee in 1985, grew up as the daughter of Elizabeth May Jones and the late Eric Jones. She graduated from Northside High School in Warner Robins, Georgia, as part of the class of 2003, where her personality and charm made her well-liked among classmates. After high school, she pursued a career in the military, joining the United States Air Force, and later, serving in the Georgia Air National Guard. During her time in the military, Katherine balanced her duties with other passions. She was dedicated to her work with Credence Management Solutions, LLC, and also built a personal business in cosmetology, running Next Level Glam, a beauty-focused venture. Katherine was also a devout Christian who attended Fellowship Bible Baptist Church. Her strong Christian faith shaped her personal life as well, guiding her later role as a mother and her commitment to family. Her life took a turn for the better when she met a man named Timothy Price. Sometime in 2010, Timothy Price, who ran a trucking business and drove 18-wheelers and had previously worked at Frito-Lay, reportedly had a stable career alongside Katherine. Their relationship was well known within their community, where they were often seen as a dependable and grounded couple.
What you will? What you will? Tell them who you will.
Nah,
You what? What Megan say? You what?
classic bougie ratchet.
Friends and neighbors frequently observed them working together to build their business, and their commitment to each other seemed unwavering. Known for their generosity and involvement in local events, they had a reputation for helping out whenever possible, making them well-regarded figures in the area. However, in a complete twist of events, their relationship went from 100 to 0 within the blink of an eye, and Katherine was about to meet a tragic end just like that. The events before Katherine Price's tragic end began when Timothy Price called 911, saying he had just shot his wife. What could have led to such a gruesome act by this loving man? As much as the police would have loved to answer that, they had a life to save. It was a tense and complex situation that led law enforcement to respond immediately. Officers arrived at their home in Centerville, Georgia around 9 a.m., preparing for what could turn into a high-risk encounter. When they reached the house, they quickly assessed the situation, confirming Timothy was still inside. Officers tried to communicate, urging him to exit and come peacefully, but the standoff continued without any response. This prompted the officers to employ the services of a special response team. Special response teams, including the Houston County Special Response Team, set up a perimeter and engaged in containment efforts. During the standoff, law enforcement used tear gas to try to neutralize the situation, expecting Timothy might surrender or open the door. However, despite these efforts, they still faced silence from inside, raising concerns for everyone involved. At that point, their priority was to enter safely and prevent further harm. As the tension mounted, officers prepared for the possibility of needing to enter by force. With precision, they broke down the door. Officers moved cautiously down the hallway, scanning each room, bracing themselves for what they might encounter. The house was eerily quiet, but the kind of silence that seemed to hold secrets. Step by step, they advanced, calling out Timothy's name, but no sound replied. Only the steady beat of their footsteps echoed. As they approached what seemed to be the master bedroom, the officers prepared for the worst. They found the door ajar, and upon pushing it open, the scene within was haunting. They found Timothy and Katherine, still, their lives brought to an abrupt halt in a way that raised more questions than answers.
A husband and wife were found dead in their Centerville home, and a neighborhood turned into a crime scene. Our crew spent hours on Arbor Creek as Centerville police and the GBI worked to figure out what happened.
It may seem as though Timothy hurt himself too, after hurting his wife. The atmosphere in the room was charged with mystery, with unanswered questions lingering in the silence, leaving everyone wondering what could have led to the scene. As the team began to search the room more closely, they took in the smallest details, hoping to piece together the events that had unfolded in the final moments. However, nothing seemed to add up. The officers stood in the room, taking in every detail. The faint smell of spent gunpowder lingered in the air. The faintest details seemed to whisper that something profound had happened here, something no one could quite grasp. One officer stepped closer, his look sweeping over the bed, the furniture, every corner, as if hoping to unlock whatever story the room held. His flashlight passed over a pile of clothes on a nearby chair, and then onto a desk, cluttered with various papers and notes. In this desk, he noticed a half-opened drawer, revealing a collection of old photographs. The images, showing Katherine, Timothy, and their children in happier times, hinted at a life full of ordinary, cherished moments. Here were the memories of birthdays, vacations, simple days at a park, reminders of a family that had seemed, at least outwardly. The home had thus been turned into a crime scene. The officers searched for answers heightened, and they felt they had only one chance of getting answers they needed: the neighbors.
And I think that's when something came over me that it was time for me to leave, because the feeling that I felt there before with my son, I didn't want to see nobody's parent having to have to feel that way, about their children. And I had to walk away. It was time to walk away.
The officers decided to interview the neighbors for any signs or leads, including previous altercations or fights between the couple. However, none could attest to anything of such.
So I got there, I seen all the police and stuff, and I'm just like, what's going on? Because it wasn't no bad relationship or nothing with them. Like, we never heard anything, well, I never heard anything bad about their relationship where something like this was going on. So I'm just like lost. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
In fact, one of the neighbors expressed she was surprised to see the use of force by the officers in trying to enter the home, because the family didn't seem to be the one with such history. The neighbor further went on to say that she knew the situation was serious when an ambulance came to the home and left with no one. She couldn't bear the sight of it, and she had to leave the scene immediately. The police, having heard all these, knew they were at a dead end and had to get the information they needed from somewhere else. The investigation into the deaths of Katherine and Timothy Price involved multiple layers of inquiry, led by the Centerville Police Department and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, GBI. Immediately after the initial response, the GBI took charge of the scene, tasked with examining the couple's home for evidence, analyzing physical clues, and conducting autopsies to confirm causes of death. Alongside these forensic efforts, detectives dug deeper into the Price's backgrounds, examining financial records, communication logs, and medical history to get a fuller picture. As with any case of this nature, the goal was to establish as complete a timeline as possible, reconstructing both recent events and any signs of long-term issues within the marriage. Despite the substantial amount of evidence collected, the investigation aimed to answer lingering questions around motive and intent, questions that sometimes remain unclear.
If we go to a death investigation, we don't go in with a preconceived notion, oh, this is a murder-suicide. We work everything like it's a murder until we can prove it's not a murder. And it may be a suicide, it may be a natural, it may be an accidental, but we're not going to call it until after the autopsy is done and until all our investigative acts have been completed, all our evidence has been processed.
Due to the unclear nature of the situation, the police couldn't deem it a murder case until after the autopsy was completed. After the investigation and considering events like the call Timothy made to police, it became clear that Timothy and Katherine had been involved in a very serious argument before the incident. Timothy then shot Katherine and called police for help, but later changed his mind and decided to hurt himself too. The Price's church community at Fellowship Bible Baptist Church also expressed their grief, as they were known as active members there. Friends and family shared fond memories, describing the Prices as friendly and supportive. Neighbors and local residents, already shocked by the standoff and subsequent police response, found the final news of their passing tragic and perplexing. Community members, especially those who knew the Prices, were left seeking answers as the investigation continued. The case has prompted discussions locally about mental health and domestic violence awareness, with many expressing their condolences and a desire to better understand what led to this tragedy. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation still piecing together evidence to provide a clearer picture of what happened, leaving the public to await further details and perhaps some closure. This tragic case leaves a community to deal with shock and questions that may never fully be answered. Katherine and Timothy Price were more than the events of that day. They were members of a family, respected by friends and colleagues, and part of their community. As the investigation closes, their loved ones and the community will remember the moments of joy and the bonds shared, even as they seek healing and understanding. Yet one question lingers. What could have led to this tragic ending for a family once filled with life and connection? Thank you so much once again for watching another video by Wednesday Crime. If you like the way we bring to you stories or you learned something new today, please like this video and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet. As always, remember to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Perhaps someone learns from your experience or advice. I will talk to you again in another video. It's bye for now.